I'm delighted to be here for a second Americans for the Arts fly-in. I learned so much the first time, and I was thrilled to have the opportunity to come and talk to our senators and congressmen on the Hill again. That's such important activity, I think, and I've been able to express the importance, I think, more effectively to our constituents and really sort of build some engagement. Not that we didn't before, but there is nothing like that personal experience to convey to somebody the importance of letting their voice be heard. Well, one of the interesting things that's happening right now is that the NATO conference is actually taking place in the Dayton area. So I know that, that's a big story. There's lots of different things that are swirling around that, but Congressman Turner was actually very instrumental in making sure that it took place in Dayton. The last time it was in the United States, to my understanding, was 22 years ago. And of course it's in Dayton because it's been 30 years since the signing of the peace treaty. So there are a lot of elements that are of an artistic nature that are being brought back for that historic marking. And a couple of them that we're super excited about are that the Sarajevo Orchestra is coming in for that, and they will be performing in our historic Victoria Theater with their own music from their country, and then they're going to walk across the street symbolically to combine with the Dayton Philharmonic and perform in the Schuster Center for a joint concert. And then there is an artist from Sarajevo who's bringing over an incredible installation that is called Think Freedom, and it will be hung in the historic Dayton Arcade from the ceiling. And there will be community students that will learn about thinking about freedom and writing some messages of freedom, and those will be inscribed on these individual sculptures. And the public will be able to come and use augmented reality technology to read the messages on that sculpture. So I think that impact of the arts, and the arts being an important part of our culture. We know we use the word culture, but there is a culture to, I think, a geographic area too. And the arts have always played a very important role. Everything from our quality of life to really being an amenity. The Midwest does not have the oceans and the mountains, but we have the arts. We have a great river, but we have the arts. And so I really believe that the community and Congressman Turner wanted to highlight that for the delegates that would be visiting. They're thinking of it as Main Street USA. And we really wanted to bring the arts into that experience because it says a lot about who we are. I don't know how we can have STEM without A. Engagement in the arts, when you look at the brain on arts, if you will, that's scientific. It lights up, and that lights up our learning. I believe learning is enhanced. There's more confidence just in who you are as a student. It builds bonds between you and other students to grow and learn together, builds that collaborative spirit. It enhances the learning of math, technology, and science. I can remember back when I was actually a teacher, because I'm a vocalist and I taught in the classroom for 9 years. We worked collaboratively with the math and science teachers to use music to help them enhance the learning. And it's been many years. I since then have moved on to different parts of my professional career, but I ran into that teacher who had become the superintendent of Dayton Public Schools. And we saw each other, and it was wonderful to greet each other. We reflected back on those modules where we made up songs to learn the planets and to learn different aspects of the curriculum. She said, I've run into students, they say, I can still recite that because of that song. It's that simple. The arts light up our brain, and it's really a launch pad into the careers of today. When we think about, film, animation, we think about architecture, and all of these different technology-based creative sector professions. The arts and arts education are a launch pad into those professions. So my very first year as president of CultureWorks, there were about 3 months later was the AFTACON conference out in San Francisco. And so I was new into the position, but we all agreed it would be a great thing for me to do and go experience. And our staff had gone before and they had, a wonderful experience and said, oh, you definitely need to go. And so I attended, and I can remember walking through the door, and there was just an energy in that entire hotel and conference center with all these creatives. It was positive energy, and it was contagious and so inspiring. I just remember sitting session after session. Not only did I build knowledge, but you build camaraderie with others that were going through the same thing, maybe the same challenges, becoming inspired by a practice that somebody else implemented and it was successful. We can do that. And I would say it was perfect for me to attend early in my career with CultureWorks because it let me see what could be. And so it really played a role in casting my vision for the organization and for the Dayton region. I really believe that you're going to hear so many stories of resilience, and the arts play a role in that resilience. You're going to see a community that is innovative, has figured out how to support the arts, has a determination to keep the arts alive. And when I went to San Francisco, I was inspired and I saw what could be. And I think here we are post-pandemic, right? We're all coming together again. And there's not going to be anything more powerful than coming together with other artists, creatives, arts administrators, folks just from around the area that love the arts, to learn how do we come out of this stronger? We're thriving again. What's new on the horizon for the arts? And how do we integrate into our communities to make them even better than they were before?